Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is Professor Anime, and welcome back to yet again another Steins Gate 0 episode review. Today we're going to be talking about episode 3 in today's episode review of Steins Gate. So without further ado, let us begin. Alright, so with this episode of Steins Gate, this pretty much let us know that, you know, when it comes down to what we can expect in the future of Steins Gate is that it's going to be relatively dark. I mean, we've already had some dark tone shifts, don't get me wrong, in the original Steins Gate, as well as what we have seen sprinkled with these first 3 episodes of Steins Gate, but yo, I cannot wait until, like, as we progress further on in this series, what events are going to occur, because just judging on how some of the foreshadowing is going down, it looks like it's going to be pretty insane. So, when it comes down to this episode of Steins Gate, this episode was pretty straightforward and to the point as far as the content that it pretty much brought us. It was mainly just focusing on a dynamic, once again, between Okabe and as well as the Amadeus system that is literally taking the personification of Mahos Decision. But we also got a little bit of other things sprinkled in between, such as we get to see Yuri's friends in this episode. I don't believe her friends were actually shown in the original Steins Gate. I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, there's the original cast of characters, but in terms of the group of friends, the other group of friends that Yuri hung out with, I don't really recall them hanging out with each other. You know, we seeing them. I mean, we did see a new sort of individual, and then we also saw, I guess, what Daru's, you know, wife is going to be, the soon-to-be wife, you know, so it was kind of cool seeing them, their whole interaction, and seeing what their friends think of Yuri, and as well as Okabe, because her friends think that, honestly, Okabe is Yuri's boyfriend. Now, here's the thing when it comes down to this, like, Yuri doesn't see Okabe as, you know, a boyfriend whatsoever. I'm pretty sure she, you know, loves him a lot, but they're necessarily childhood friends. And I don't really think, in terms of the context of what we got in this episode, especially what we saw at the very ending happen, which we will get to in a bit, but regarding the whole Yuri situation as far as what happened, I don't really think, when it comes down to what we saw in this episode, that Yuri is going to be filled by jealousy when it comes to the whole Mahos Decision and then Okabe dynamic, because of the factor that I just don't see Yuri being that type of character. I've never saw, you know, Yuri to be the jealous type. We have seen in these episodes of Steins Gate 0 that, though, when it comes down to Yuri as a character, there's something seems to be, you know, out of place. It doesn't really seem as though everything is connecting, and Yuri sees that there is a reason as to why Okabe is hurting so much, but she just doesn't know what that possibly is, and she wants to help him, but realize that as she is the way she is, she cannot help him, because this is a task that only he can handle himself, and he bears the responsibility of what happened to Mahos Decision, and it's up to him to fix it. However, when it comes down to Yuri, she has no idea what that is, and as a friend, she probably wants to just help out Okabe to the best of her ability, but seems as though, you know, no matter how much she reaches out, it seems that it's for naught, necessarily. So I don't really think the whole dynamic between, you know, Okabe, Yuri, and then Mahos Decision is a based of jealousy sort of ideal. I know that some people are probably going to get the idea out of this episode, but I highly doubt that jealousy is going to be the leading factor as for the future events to come. But we'll just have to see in the, you know, following future of Steins Gate 0. We also got a bit of focus on Suzie in this episode. Not, you know, a whole lot, but we did end up seeing that Suzie was thrown a surprise birthday party, you know, during the Christmas time or whatnot. I mean, I guess it was Suzie's birthday, if I believe. I mean, it was a Christmas party, but I believe, I guess she was born on Christmas. I think that was stated in the original Steins Gate. I could be wrong on that, but let me know in the comments down below to clarify me. Sometimes, you know, reviewers make mistakes too, but anyway, let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, basically everyone threw a surprise birthday party for Suzie, and this is something, you know, that's ultimately special to her, because in her timeline, you know, with bunch of stuff going down, because around the time that she was born was around the time when World War III was going on, so she never really got to have a proper upbringing or experience these types of things just being set in that timeline. So yeah, it was just kind of cool getting that scene right there with, you know, the whole surprise, you know, birthday party and whatnot, you know, at the Christmas event. You know, everyone's just having a good time. Suzie actually got to spend time with, you know, her soon-to-be, you know, mother and father, you know, having a birthday party, you know, actually get to experience things one-on-one with them, along with friends of theirs as well, you know, because again, as I said before, you know, in the future she really never got to experience that. So these are some memories that might be, you know, implemented into her when she, you know, sets back into the future, but we'll just have to wait and see regarding those, because will those, you know, memories stay with her or not? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. But what matters is those memories are now with her in the present timeline at the moment. But, yo, it was so funny in this episode to where we saw the professor arrive at the scene as well as Maho. And when you hear the professor state to Rintaro, calling him Lintalo, you know, because, you know, he's foreign, it's so funny. But not only that, when he sees all the girls in the room, he's like, man, you got some beautiful girls in this lab here, Rintaro, including that one over there. Wow, she is a beaut, referring to the trap. And I'm just over here dying, especially when Okabe, you know, has that really what kind of look on his face, like, I can't believe he just said that. And also where he, you know, gives the dialogue saying, but he's a guy, or he's a dude, you know, and that's something that has always been funny to me, you know, ever since I watched the original Steins Gate, because, you know, every time Okabe would look at the trap, he would say, it's a guy, it's a guy. It's a guy, like he's trying to calm down, you know, it's so funny. So I thought that was a good touch on the episode. Now, what we also got in this episode, the big factor of what this episode contained, because as I said before, this episode was mainly an episode that focused on the dynamic between the development of Mahos Decision, the AI system, Amadeus, as well as Okabe, and a little few things sprinkled in between. So what we see at the ending of this episode of Steins Gate is that Okabe, you can tell that he is developing an attachment for the Amadeus system, because it is reminding him of the original Mahos Decision. And we do see him start to open up with the Amadeus system and become a little bit more happier. But what we see him is that, from the episode, is that because of this attachment, it's starting to put him under, so to speak. And Maho, the other scientist that made the Amadeus system, with the help of the professor, she actually finds Rintaro and tells him straight up, you know, shuts off the Amadeus system and says, you cannot take this as the original Mahos Decision. This is only a replica. This is not the real thing. No matter how much of an imitation of the Mahos Decision that you know, this is not the Mahos Decision that you know. It is simply just an imitation, you know? And it's so saddening, because, you know, we see this Amadeus system, Mahos Decision, you know, able to, you know, literally have some of the memories from, you know, Mahos Decision's past before she met Rintaro, and as well as the factor that, you know, this Amadeus system can actually feel emotions. You know, it was stated in episode 1 that this AI system can feel emotions. It has a heart. It can feel. But the thing is, no matter how much it feels real to Rintaro, at the end of the day, he has to realize that, in reality, this isn't the Mahos Decision that he knew. It's a fake. And, you know, the decision that Maho made, you know, telling Rintaro this, that, you know, this is not the original Makase Kurisu, I actually think, like, she made the best decision possible for him, because, honestly, I think it would have been more saddening and more of a despair if we actually saw Rintaro develop a further connection with the Amadeus system. I mean, there is the possibility that he will draw more so of a connection of the Amadeus system, you know, that is literally taking the representation of Makase Kurisu, but the thing is that I think Maho, you know, made the right decision to tell Rintaro this, because if it developed further, it would have been a whole lot worse for Rintaro later on. But despite this, despite hearing this, we see Rintaro begin to break down as his PTSD starts to kick in. He's seeing these flashbacks through his mind, and he just shuts down, you know? So, yeah, we could definitely tell that he's still experiencing a lot of things, and that he's not taking things too well. And while it seemed as though, you know, he was starting to cope with his PTSD with the Amadeus system, at the end of the day, he would have become a lot worse. So yeah, judging from where Steins Gate 0 is going to go from here is going to be very, very interesting, because, like, we do see a lot of setup being taken place at the moment, and that's, you know, what Steins Gate, the original Steins Gate, was. You know, it was a very slow-paced, you know, it was a lot of setup, but then midway through the series is when everything just starts to, you know, break down and whatnot, you know. So I'm loving this whole dynamic between the Amadeus system as well as Rintaro, and I'm very excited to see, you know, what's going to happen in future episodes of Steins Gate, as now, you know, we have a good solid build-up. There's still a little bit more here and there that we need to get accustomed to, but we'll see what happens in the future. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.